Could you please welcome on stage the chairman of the judging panel, Denis O'Brien.
Entrepreneurs imagine the future and then make it happen. But the talents of true visionaries often find expression in arenas beyond the cut and thrust of commercial life. Tonight, we pay tribute to a voluntary organisation whose work has touched every community on this island, and to one man whose qualities of leadership exemplifies its entrepreneurial spirit.
The GAA has met head-on the challenges of a new century, balancing the needs of the future with the traditions of the past, allowing the top to blossom while all the time nurturing the grassroots, building a brand in the marketplace without diluting the passion of the parish, and putting in place a programme of structural reform that enhances rather than detracts from its democratic principles.
Rule 42 was the old provision in the GAA rulebook saying that other sports could not be played at GAA venues. Eventually there developed, if you like, a momentum behind the idea that the rule could be relaxed in relation to Croke Park. The president of the GAA, the then President Sean Kelly, had always been an advocate of opening up. The weight of that support turned out to be very significant. It was actually passed pretty comfortably, very much, I suppose, a personal triumph for him.
Croke Park was a vision of a number of people, Liam Mulvihill, Peter Quinn and lots of others way back 15, 20 years ago. Lots of people would have said, you know, this was a daft idea, too ambitious a proposition. But they just pursued it relentlessly, and that vision has now turned into what is one of the most magnificent stadiums in the world. There's been a big effort to develop alternative revenue streams, and it's corporate events, it's concert events, it's conferences, it's museum tours and so on. It's very successful. Sean Kelly clearly has brought that to another stage in opening up Croke Park.
I played against him in club matches. He was an average, very average footballer. So he reffed a game one time between Timpernoe and Scatterglen, and I can tell you this, one of the worst refereeing performances of all time. It was near anarchy. He let the game go to control. So it was a wise decision to go into administration.
Well, yeah, I know Sean a long time. Sean was actually a teacher of mine in St Brendan's, and we used to always try to keep him talking about GAA as long as we possibly could, or about games that he was involved in with Kerry, obviously to fasten the class. But he copped onto it after a short period. You know, Sean's biggest strength was that he was always part of he knew what was going on at grassroots. He knew the strengths, he knew the weaknesses. So I think Sean will always remembered as a person who's always looked after the community.
There's two kind of images of the GAA. One is the 82,500 people in Croke Park on All-in-Ireland final day. The second is when you drive around the country and see how the proceeds of that match have been distributed and other matches have been distributed, and the very, very fine facilities that exist right throughout the country, in cities, in small towns, in large towns. If any one man can lay claim to success in that regard, it is Sean and Sean Kelly.
In Kerry, Sean Kelly would be known as a sound man, and no higher praise could be given in this county.
To accept the award for the Community Entrepreneur of the Year, please welcome to the stage Sean Kelly.
I think the remarks there summed it all up. While I am very grateful and very honoured and indeed very humbled to accept this fantastic award here this evening. I'd like to thank Ernest & Young for, but also I must say that it is a very heavy award. So it weighs about a tonne. So my wife Juliet will have to get a very firm shelf to display it on in our home in Killarney. But certainly I'm accepting it on behalf of the 2,000 clubs in Ireland, the 450 clubs overseas whose members went to their club meetings and very generously and very courageously voted for change. And that change was carried right through by the county boards to Congress. And I'd just like to say that now as we look forward to soccer and rugby internationals being played in Croke Park next year, I hope it will become a happy and successful stamping ground for Irish teams, starting with Eddie O'Sullivan's rugby team, when hopefully on February 11th next year they'll sock it to the French. And finally, I just want to say, Pat Spillane is a sound man, but he's a very poor judge of referees and ordinary club footballers. Taorishan. Me igoni buiach agus fi cumin de gachtainna a socht an gradam úntaach seo a tá bronna thorm agus ar cumanú clás gael nocht. Mille wichas.